Rachel CLUN, Cassandra Morgan last updated 14:51, May 11, 2018. Sydney Morning Herald photographer Nick Moore captured stunning aerial footage of the small New South Wales town of Black Springs after it was covered in a thick layer of snow. Parts of New South Wales woke to snow on Friday morning, as a complex low-pressure system brings wind and cold weather to most of southeast Australia. After a warm week, Sydney dropped to an overnight low of 10 degrees in the early morning, and the city is forecast to reach a top of 17 degrees. It was much colder in the central tablelands, which lies between the Sydney metropolitan area and the central western slopes and plains, where towns including Oberon and Blaney were covered in a light blanket of snow thanks to the cold snap that started on Thursday evening. Blanketed by snow. A truck drives in the cold in Black Springs in New South Wales on Friday morning. We were out in the village of Black Springs as the snow started coming down and settling before midnight, Blaney resident Kimmy Shaw said. Read more. Southeast Australia, Sydney prepares for Twin Peaks chill. By the time we got home to Blaney, it had settled there and was still coming down. A child runs through snow to school in Black Springs in the NSW Central Tablelands. However, Bureau of Meteorology forecaster Peter Zmiski said residents should not expect it to last. There is a possibility of snow, down to about 700 meters on the central tablelands today, but the chance is a medium chance, he said. Probably we will see just a little bit of a dusting of snow, if anything. While photos and video from the area show a layer of snow covering lawns, cars and houses, Zmiski said dry conditions meant there would not be much snow fell in the state of New South Wales south of Oberon around Black Springs. He said warmer daytime temperatures, tops of 6 to 13 degrees in the central tablelands on Friday, and between 11 and 18 on Saturday, meant the snow won't really last. Shaw said the snow had already disappeared from her home. Unfortunately, it's all melted this morning, but I can still smell it in the air. Damaging westerly winds are expected to develop through Friday due to the complex low-pressure system near Tasmania, changing to a gusty southerly wind later in the evening. In alpine areas, peak gusts of more than 120 km per hour are expected, and the Bureau warns of possible blizzard conditions for areas above 1,700 meters. The high southerly winds are forecast to continue into Saturday, but should ease by Sunday. High wind for Sydney. In Sydney, Saturday is forecast to be warmer with a minimum of 12 degrees and tops of 20 degrees in the city and 17 in the west. Wind gusts for up to 80 km per hour are forecast for Sydney on Friday, possibly reaching highs of 100 km per hour in Sydney's south on Saturday. Ausgrid's chief operating officer Trevor Armstrong said people should make sure their homes are prepared for the severe weather. When we see damaging winds like this, they can lead to disruptions across the network as they can cause power lines to snap or branches and trees to fall on overhead wires, he said. It's a good idea to take a few minutes and put away any loose outdoor items like tools, play equipment and garden furniture before the strongest winds arrive. Securing those items means they won't blow away during strong winds and damage power lines or property. Cascades interdict bad weather is partially to blame for an incident in NSW on Friday morning. 2 adults and a 4-year-old child were trapped in a car at Lidston near Orange after it skidded off the road into a ditch. 5 paramedic units were called to the scene just after 9 a.m., but it was unclear if anyone was injured. Floods in Hobart. The same complex system has also caused havoc in Tasmania and Victoria. The wild weather caused flash flooding in Hobart's CBD, with cars swept away and emergency crews responding to hundreds of calls for help. More than 13,000 properties lost power as the storms rolled in, while some vehicles were swept away after Hobart received almost 130 millimeters of rain in the past 24 hours. It was only the 5th time since 1893 that Hobart has recorded more than 100 millimeters in one day, the ABC reported. When we came down here I didn't even see my car, a woman told the 7 Network. I thought someone might have stolen it. Police say Hobart's CBD has been hit hard, forcing the closure of many roads as streets turned into fast-flowing rivers, with water surging inside homes and businesses. Flash flooding has also hit the Hobart suburbs of Blackmans Bay, Sandy Bay and Kingston on the city's outskirts. The University of Tasmania's Sandy Bay campus has been closed after some buildings flooded and power was cut. In Victoria, the State Emergency Service received 42 calls for assistance after Melbourne recorded 17 millimeters of rain from midnight, which is more rainfall than the city experienced in the entire month of April. Sydney Morning Herald with